Buddhasasana. Let us discuss Buddhasasana today. Everyone talk about Buddhasasana this year. What is the reason? It is because this year marks the 2550th year after Parinibbana of the Buddha. What does it mean by Buddhasasana? Within your understanding, what have you heard about Buddhasasana? Different people would provide a variety of ideas, if asked. Let us keep those ideas aside for a moment and let us find out what the Buddha had said about it. We must accept what he had said, as he is our exalted Magga teacher. That is the right thing to do. The Buddha has stated this very magnificently in a Gatha consisting of 4 phrases. Everyone may have heard this. Repeatedly, we hear this Gatha every day. I think that Sri Lanka National Broadcasting Corporation ends its night programs by playing this Gatha. Everyone knows. Sabapapasa akaranan, kusalasa upasam pada sachita pariyodhapanan, etan buddhana sasanan. That is all. It has only 4 phrases. What is sabapapasa akaranan? Do not do any papa. Kusalasa upasam pada, bring about kusala, develop kusala. Sachita pariyodhapanan, purify sitha. That is all. Etan buddhana sasanan. This is the dhyana of all the Buddhas. The dhyana of Buddhas that appeared in the past until now, and all the Buddhas that will appear in the future will announce only this. What it is then: do not do any papa, develop kusala, and purify sitha. This is the anusasana of all the Buddhas. This is the sasana. What we call the Buddha sasana. What we call Buddhasasana. What we call the Buddhanusasana. Sasana consists only of this. Let us look in detail what the Buddha had said about sasana. What did he say first? Sabapapasa akaranan, do not do any papa. Why did he say not to do papa? It states in this phrase, not to do any papa. Why is he asking not to do? Is not it because we commit papa? There is no need to ask us not to commit papa, if we are not committing any papa. Thus, what do people do mostly? Do mostly papa, papa karma, and commit papa. Because of that, the Buddha advised us to refrain from papa. Not to commit any papa. Committing papa, what is the papa? Let us see what papa are. What papa karma is. People do papa karma by means of body, then by using word, and then by using sitha. Then with what do they commit papa karma? They do papa by body, by word, and by sitha. Then, there are 3 papa karmas committed using the body. Everyone has heard these. Killing of living beings, stealing, taking things not given, illicit sex, having sex with someone else's spouse. Then, people commit these 3 papa karmas. What are they? They are killing living beings, taking things not given, and having illicit sex. These are the 3 papa karmas committed with the body. The 3 papa karmas. Then there are 4 papa karmas committed using the word. What are they? Telling lies, engaging in gossip, speaking harsh words, and engaging in frivolous talk. Then, these 4 papa karmas people commit verbally. The papa karmas are, telling lies, engaging in gossip, speaking harsh words, and engaging in frivolous talk. Then, by word, there are 4 papas. By body, there are 3 papas. Therefore, there are 7 papas altogether. Mind is the other tool used for committing papa karmas. Using mind, 3 papa karmas are committed. One of them is firm obstinate avariciousness, greediness, covetousness. That is a papa karma. Next is hatred, anger, revulsion, done by mind. In addition to them, commit another. This is called mithyadushti. What is mithyadushti then? The Buddha had explained this too. In one sutta, we find the meaning. Mithyadushti means here, are these papa karmas committed with the sitha. People believe there are no end results for generosity. Giving alms does not have any outcome. Taking care of mother does not bring any results. Taking care of father do not bring any results. Then karma, committing karma would not have any consequences. There is no this world. There is no other world, no next place of birth. Then, there are no zealously practicing ascetics. The Buddha had mentioned 10 reasons like these, possessing thoughts such as these declared as mithyadushti. Thus, they are the three papa karma caused by the mind. What are they? They are lobha, dvesha, and mithyadushti. Then, there are 10 papas. Body does 3. Word does 4. Mind does 3. The Buddha had advised to abstain from doing these 10. These are all the papa karmas, there is no papa karmas further than these are. People cannot insert anything to them, cannot remove anything from them at individual discretions either. Can we do it? No. We hear differing ways. We are helpless regarding it. The Buddha had not said anything like that, had he? We get to hear about the 3 papa karmas committed by the body today a lot: killing living beings, taking things not given, and having illicit sex. Though there are 4 papa karmas by word, we hear only about 1: abstain from telling lies. Therefore, today many people do not know, none knows that gossiping is a serious papa karma. Do not know that harsh words give rise to birth in Naya, a hell-bound papa karma. None knows that spending the day having frivolous talk or empty words is papa karma. We cannot do it this way. The Buddha had clearly stated that we do 4 papa karmas by words: telling lies, engaging in gossip, speaking harsh words, and engaging in frivolous talk. Then, all these 4 are papa karmas. By mind, we do 3, lobha, dvesha, and mithyadushti. That is why I said these 10 are the only papa karmas. We cannot add anything, or remove any. Making efforts to insert many things could produce a list of names, if wanted. Then, there are 3 bodily papa karmas, 4 verbal papa karmas, and 3 papa karmas committed by siddha, mind, and brain. Mano karma means mind. All right? Kaya karma, vachi karma, mano karma. Thus, there are 3 papa karmas committed by using the mind. Here mithyadushti means absolute mithyadushti. It includes karma. Committing karma would not have any consequences. Taking care of mother does not bring any results. Taking care of father does not bring any results. Giving alms does not have any outcome. And acknowledge the belief that there are no practicing ascetics. These are grave papa karmas conducted by the mind. Why? Their minds are very weak. That is the reason. People with that kind of mind are unsuitable for the human world. That is why they were mentioned as papa karmas. The Buddha had declared that they have serious consequences as absolute mithyadushti. It means a very badly deteriorated mentality, doing with that kind of mind. Those who do them are largely carrying out papa karmas. That is why I said it that way. Thus, there are only these 10 papa karmas. There is nothing to insert into them, and you cannot drop anything out either. I mentioned earlier that only 1 out of the 4 verbal karma is acknowledged now. The remaining 3 have been dropped. That is a grave offense. Then they try to add things that do not exist there. As an example, I have talked about this earlier. Many questions come up for some people when these are discussed. They try to put in as papa karmas things not declared or disclosed by the Buddha. Upright, have we seen anywhere in this? No. It does not state here. I must discuss these. Have we seen anywhere in these 10 papa karmas, taking intoxicants, drinking intoxicating liquor as a papa karma? No. Then there is an enormous spasm about this. The next fabricated thing by the Buddhists is consumption of flesh, eating fish and meat. Do we find them here as a papa karmas? Understand me correctly, I am not promoting them either. I am not trying to say consumption of meat is good. Then, I am not saying that consumption of intoxicants is good either. People are, however, intoxicated incessantly. There is nothing to intoxicate any further. People are intoxicated because of wealth, caste, profession, power, skills, aptitudes, education, beauty, or figure, intoxicated by many things like this. There is no necessity to introduce these poisonous substances into them additionally, to be intoxicated. Those are my reasons. I do not have a problem about it. However, I am discussing our pristine Buddha Dhamma and things coming from outside the Buddhism, those not found in Buddha. Dhisana needed to be eliminated. Essentially, I mentioned it for Those reasons. Many people think today, if we do not consume alcohols, it is Buddhism. People who drink alcohols are condemned and looked down to the extreme bottom. There are many good things as well as bad things in these matters. We need to discuss both. Let us do it at another time. Nevertheless, we should not introduce these by force. Within these 10 Papa Kammas, there is no mention of intoxicants and flesh consumption. Therefore, we cannot add them. There are a number of people coming here to argue with me over them. There is no point in debating. Why? Because this Dhamma is not mine. I am only unveiling the Buddha Dhisana. These are not my private thoughts. I am merely saying that the Buddha had not stated that way. We do not come across them in pristine, acceptable, reasonable books, primary books, which means in earliest Buddha Dhamma and Buddha Dhisana. There is no way we could add or introduce these. Are you clear about these? That is why I talked about these 10 Papa Kammas very clearly. Keep in mind, do not drop any of these 10. Do not add anything either. When the Buddha had declared, they are declared conclusively. Therefore, do not drop any of these, or do not insert any either. Then what happens when these 10 papas are committed? The people who commit these Papa Kammas are hell-bound. Nowadays, these are the things people do repeatedly. This is what many do. Many dwell in these Papa. There is a reason for it. We'll understand what the reasons are at the end of this discussion. Then, we are advised to refrain from doing them. We are asked to refrain from them, because we do them. The Buddha did not have to advise that way if we were not committing them. We do not keep doing these 10 all the time, but do them based on existing condition at various time. That means we do not commit killing all the time. Do it when there is an opportunity, when there is a chance to do it. To tell lies, tell tales, conduct harsh speech, and make frivolous speech, similarly need an opportunity for them to take place. To refrain from these is what the Buddha's advice was. Even though those 10 were mentioned as Papa Kammas where Sabapapasawakaranan was mentioned, need to make a little adjustment here. I explained these 10 Papa Kammas. Remember well then, people who do these 10 Papa Kammas are hellbound inevitably. They take birth in 4 hells. What is the reason then? Because people who commit these are insulting the humankind. They are not suitable to be called humans. Now, we were advised to refrain from doing them. What happens, if refrained from them? Invariably they are bound to a happy state. Next birth will be in one of 6 heavens or the human world. They will not take birth in any of those 4 hells. Accordingly, one who refrains from committing these 10 Papa Kammas would essentially have human Dhamma. Those who commit these Papa Kammas have no human Dhamma. Have you understood? Instead of doing human Dhamma, if committing Papa Kammas, they are not doing things that belong to human Dhamma. That is why they take birth in Naya. They are unsuitable for humanity. They go down. Are you clear? If they have refrained from committing these 10 Papa Kammas, they possess real human Dhamma. They are suitable to be human. They even can move further on, depending on the amount they have accomplished. That is why they can be heaven-bound. Have you understood what has been explained? I deviated a little bit from the subject, in order to explain the 10 Papa Kammas. Do you have any problems? Any problems about the 10 Papa Kammas? Then the Buddha had advised us to refrain from doing them. Where it said, Sabapapasawakaranan, however, it does not imply all 10 Papas. What is the reason? It is wrong if someone try to explain this out as one phrase. We must always take into account Buddha Dhisana collectively, as a complete all-embracing Dhisana. It is wrong if we try to break it down to chapters, phrases, and words and try to explain each one of them separately in the way we would like to explain them. It would be distortion of Dhamma. What is meant by Sabapapasawakaranan at this point? Had not talk about all 10 Papa Kammas here, had advised to refrain from the 3 bodily papas and the 4 verbal papas. What is meant here is that we must refrain from the bodily and the verbal papas. Why? No necessity to include papa committed by the mind here. Why? They are present when we visit the next two phrases. Do you follow what I said? The Buddha declared only 10 papa kamas. What implied here, out of those 10? Sabapapasa akaranan means here refrain from 3 bodily papa kamas and 4 verbal papa kamas. In short, this is sila. Having control of body and words. Are you clear? Have you understood what I explained here? Then, what did the Buddha say? In this first, stated in the Gatha, the phrase, Sabapapasa akaranan. Therefore, what do we have to do first? Keep in control the body and word. What do we do after that? Now remember I have discussed about the 10 papa kamas here. Then doing these 10 papas is considered as papas. These are hell-bound. Is there anything else that we have to perform, especially as pina? What becomes pina then? Abstinence from these 10 papa kamas itself is pina. Is it clear for you? Now, confusion will arise in many people. What are papas? What is pina? What is the reason? That is the way now. We hear them. They recited Sabapapasa akaranan and advised not to do any papa kamas. They recited Kusalasa Upasampada and advised to do Kusala, asked to do pina. What they are saying is do pina and refrain from doing papa. No. Here, the first phrase Sabapapasa akaranan itself say, refrains from performing papas. Abstinence of papa itself brings about pina. Then, I am saying this staying a little bit outside the Gatha. Are you all right? Because I am explaining these 10 papa kamas. If refrain from these 10 papa kamas, it is pina. There is no other pina further than this in the world. Have you understood what was said? Abstinence from these 10 papa kamas goes beyond all what usually done as pina, such as alms giving, conducting dharana of the Buddha, katina ceremonies, construction of chaitya and temples, and the various things that they do, calling 8 big kusala. Are you clear about this? All aforementioned pina belongs to dana. Those 8 big punya karma, katina ceremonies, building of temples, chaitya, and vihara, all goes under dana, sila, or else refraining from papa kamas committed by body, words, and mind is much superior to dana. Then carrying out of these papa kamas pushes us to naya. They are papas. Pina is prevention of these occurrences. There are no reservations about it. This is the highest pina. Have you comprehended it? Pina is nothing but abstinence from committing 10 papa kamas. Are you clear about this? None should have any problems about what is pina and what is papa karma. Are you clear? What is easy to do, refraining from these 10 papa kamas, or else doing the papa kamas? What is easier, doing something, or else refraining from doing it? All right. The question people have, if we take a different thing, you will say that it is easier not to do that thing than doing. However, refraining from doing these 10 papa kamas is difficult. What is the reason? Because people have become used to doing these things repeatedly, the mind is engaged in them. We must remember there is a reason for doing them, regardless of many advices, to observe the sila, and to refrain from doing them. What is the reason? All these things provide a certain amount of pleasure. Is it not true? That is the reason. There is some asvada. Papa kamas provide some kind of small pleasure either briefly or temporarily. There is anyway long-term injury, evil. Adinava. Some do not know about that. Some others do not care. Whether there is Adinava, no matter, let us have fun today. Who cares about tomorrow? A weak mentality, people without self-confidence or skills think like that. However, they do these because of the Asvada they experience. We need to keep that in mind. However, remember one thing, that Adinava is larger than the Asvada. That is the reason for asking not to do this. People do not know the happiness gained after going past this point, do not know the happiness gained by refraining from doing these. That is because they lack practice. Thus, regardless of all that, Pina means refraining from these 10 Papa Kamas. Now, there should not be any trouble about the 10 Papa Kamas. If someone does these 10, he ends up in Naya. There, if he refrains from doing Papa Kamas, he is heaven bound. Those are the Pina, okay. However, only 7 Papa Kamas belong to where it says Saba Papasu Akaranan. As Manokama is not counted here, 3 Papa Kamas done with the mind do not fall in here. Here it speaks only about the 7 Papa Kamas performed by body and word. He had advised to refrain from doing these papas, had asked to have control over the body and word. Are you clear about this now? After that, the Buddha dispensed the second phrase of the Gatha. What did he say? Kusalasu Pasam Pada, it is not okay just to have control over the body and word, get into a corner and wait with jointed hands and legs. This Dhamma declared by the Buddha goes beyond it, and is profound. There is no need for the Buddhas to appear to advise people just to refrain from those 10 Papa Kamas, so they may reach heaven, since they existed in other religions too. Whether the Buddhas appear or not, other religions also had certain amount of these things, but with certain amount of shortfalls and excesses, though not to the extent the Buddha had declared, with completeness and meticulousness. People had some understanding about those Papa and Pina, though they had certain deficiencies and gaps. However, the Buddha organized it, complete in all aspect, and meticulously set them out. Now, just refraining from Papa and acquiring Pina would not do. The reason being, we are approaching today's Dhisana from a different angle. Today, there is no Dhisana about Chaturarya Satya, or Noble Eightfold Path. What is the reason? We need them because there is dukkha, and we are heading towards freeing of dukkha. We are moving forward to end dukkha in samsara. Therefore, first thing needed is to have control over body and words. Stopping here after achieving that would not work. We must go to the next step. Why do we do this? Why should we have control over body, word? Because we want to go into the next step. What is the next step? Kusalasu Pasam Padua, previously asked not to do Papa Kamas. The Buddha Dhisana is superbly insightful. Look carefully to see the nature of insightfulness. What was asked not to do? Not to commit any Papa Kamas, that is it. Again, had not talked about doing Pina. It is Pina when Papa Kamas are not done. Do you see it? It is very precise. Do you see how much is there to learn? Had advised not to do Papa. That is sufficient, no need to talk about Pina. There it is Pina, by not doing Papas. Question. Is it unnecessary to take 5 precepts even? Answer. Again, taking from where? Can we buy sila from a shop? Is there a place to obtain? Is it in a storage room? Is it stacked up anywhere? There is nothing to take. Just refrain from doing this. That is all. Once again, there is no need to worship or make offerings. Just do not do the 10 Papas described earlier. Do not do this 7 out of the 10 Papa Kamas. Control body and words. There it is Pina, refrained from Papas. Next, he had advised us to develop Kusala. What for is Kusala? There is no kusala in people. There is no kusala. The Buddha would not advise us to develop kusala if there was kusala. Do not have kusala. Then what do they have? Akusala. Do you see the difference? There he talked about papas and advised not to do papa kamas. Refraining from doing papa kamas itself. Was Pina there? Pina and papa must end there. No need to bring them up here again. The Buddha, who had advised in that order, had asked to develop kusala next. Why kusala? Because we do not have kusala, people do not have kusala. Therefore, he asked us to develop kusala. If there is no kusala, what is there? Akusala. What is akusala? There again, another question is arising. What are kusala? What are akusala? Let us talk about what people have. People have akusala, do not have kusala. Therefore, advised to develop kusala. Because there is no kusala, what is there is akusala. What are these akusala? Response from audience. Pancha Nivarena. Answer. Yes, we can say that they are Pancha Nivarena for simplicity. What are they? Yes. Desire to please the eye by seeing objects by eyes. Seeing objects is a pleasure and joyful. Then, what we people do is keep chasing after them, run in 10 directions behind those objects that we like, to please the eye. Next, desires to please and yearning to gratify ear by listening to pleasurable sounds by the ear, and desires to please the nose by providing odors liked by the nose. Longing to please, desire to please the tongue by providing things that are tasty to the tongue. Then desire to please the body by providing pleasant contacts to the body. Then desire to please the mind by thinking and imagining about various pleasurable mental objects liked by the mind. Aim at objects by using 6 faculties: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. They go after objects with the desires to please these faculties, because of the craving to have pleasures that they derive. Then, the pleasing of these 6 sensual faculties, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind is called karma. In Pali, karma means pleasing of all these faculties. Do you agree to? In this country, they mean only one thing by karma, including that all these 6 are called karma. Then, the desire to please them is called kamadkanda. Then the Buddha had identified this thing called kamadkanda as an akusala. It is an akusala. It was called nivarena. Nivarena means by nature, people's mind is shining. It is called papashvara. Sitha is masked by a kind of akusala called nivarena. They are also called kilesa. Because of them, the Sitha has become impure. Sitha is shrouded. That is why they are called akusala. They are called nivarena. There are 5 nivarena mentioned. First, one is kamadkanda, the desires to please eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Then, that is one of them. The second, akusala, is what? It is vyapada, anger. Now, we do not get objects that are pleasing to the eye all the time. Most of them are unpleasant objects. It is same with the ear. Not always, it gets to hear pleasant sounds. We receive enough unpleasant objects. It is same with the nose in getting odors. It receives both pleasant and unpleasant smells. It is same for the tongue in getting tastes, body in getting feelings, and mind in getting mental objects. What do we do when this happen? We keep chasing after the agreeable, refuse the disagreeable. We clash with the one we do not like, and that is called divesha. Why do we create frictions, arguments, develop anger? This is vyapada. because find them objectionable. We detest what we dislike, and attach on to ones we like. Going after likable is called kamad-kanda. Then when we receive things we dislike or objectionable, we reject them, get rid of them. That is what is called devesha. This is also an akusala, and nivarena. Do you follow? That is the second one. Now, what is the third one? It is thinamida in the sitha. The laziness, not for doing everything, lazy to do good things. Feel lazy to do kusala dhamma, lazy to do good things. Nevertheless, to do other things, go with much enthusiasm. Why is that? There is certain amount of enjoyment immediately in them, as we said earlier, for papa kamas, for good things, pina. There are no immediate asvada. Their results come later on. Do not get to enjoy the goodness right away. Therefore, we go after things that give instant pleasure, for quick satisfaction. That is why we do papas. By nature, there is an unwillingness to do kusala. That is called thinamida, laziness in mind and body. Then, this also is an akusala. Next is udadcha, the fourth one. Udadcha is the uneasy nature of the sitha. Cannot keep the sitha on one thing, it jumps in 10 directions, looking for an object, which is called udadcha, disturbed nature of the sitha. Then there is another one right with it, called kakudcha. It also occurs in the sitha. Kakudcha is the nature of regret over papa already performed, and regret over missed opportunities to do pina. Then, the regret over papa already done, and regret over chances to do pina is called kakudcha. Because these two happens together, it is called udadcha by combining the udadcha and kakudcha as one nivarena. The fifth one is doubt, doubtful. Here by doubt we mean having doubt about the Buddha, about Dhamma, about Sangha, about karma, and things related to the Dhamma. That is called visakicha. These are the akusala. This is what people have all the time in their sitha. All these 5 are present. These 5 are always present in an ordinary sitha, an abhavita sitha, an abhavita sitha means one undeveloped, a sitha with no control over. All 5 are present. However, all 5 do not act evenly at the same time. It appears in different magnitude at different events. When one is acting excessively and strenuously, the other is weak. Like that, they work alternatively. Some are powerful when the others are weak. However, all 5 exist in sithas as an aggregate. Then these are the akusala. The Buddha then had asked us to develop kusala. What does it mean by developing kusala? It is nothing but getting rid of these 5 akusala. Destruction of akusala brings about kusala. Are you clear about this now? When he advised about papa and pina, getting rid of papa itself generated the pina. There was no necessity to talk about pina separately. See how beautifully had he explained. What does it say here? It is refraining from akusala itself is development of kusala. Put all efforts to destroy the 5 akusala. Then it becomes the kusala. This akusala disappears. People's sitha is in akusala, in these 5 nivarena. Another term for them is kilesa. Now the efforts made to destroy the 5 akusala is kusala here. Have you understood it? I am going on explaining things. You may interrupt me at any time, at that point, when there is a question. Do you have any question on anything? Then, what is the reason for developing kusala? Developing kusala means getting rid of akusala. When the amount of akusala is gone, what is there is kusala. When these 5 nivarena exists, the sitha is in akusala. Now what happen when if sitha is freed from these akusala? What do we have to do to get rid of these nivarena? We cannot just do it at once. It is to get us there. The Buddha first had said, Sarva Papasu Akaranan. First, We must get the body and word under control. Refrain from committing the 3 bodily and 4 verbal papas. After that, we go to develop kusala. Now this time we have to deal with the sitha. We accomplish what sitha wants via body. The inhale and exhale of the breath is an involuntary operation from the time of birth until the death. Nothing is there that the body can do without directions or support of the sitha. The body operates under the directions given by the sitha after thinking. Body and word both perform under directions of the sitha. Next are the verbal actions. Both body and word work only after thinking. Then, without the sitha's directions, verbal actions would not happen. To do the 3 bodily papas, killing, theft, and illicit sex, the body needs directions from the sitha. To do the 4 verbal papas, lying, telling tales, harsh words, and frivolous talk, all operates under directions from the sitha. Sitha's participation is needed to do all these 7 papa kamas. That is why we have to have control over the body, words. After that, what remains is the 3 akusala done by the sitha. That is why, had first invited us to have control over the bodily and verbal actions out of the 10 papas described earlier, to handle them first. When the body and words are in control, we stopped 7 out of the 10 papas done by the sitha. That is why it was taken as the first. It is with the sitha that we do lobha, tivesha, and mithyadushti activities. Now, these things are done here too. What do we do next? We mentioned akusala. What do we have to do to remove akusala karma or pancha nivarena? We need to do bhavana. We call it samatha bhavana. When the Buddha talked about nivarena, he meant kusalasa upasampada, to develop kusala, for freeing the sitha of akusala. Once the sitha is free from akusala, the sitha is in kusala. Have you understood it? There are 5 akusala called pancha nivarena. When the sitha is free of these 5 nivarena, kusala sitha arises. So what do we have to do first to get rid of 5 nivarena? We have to do a meditation first. We call it samatha bhavana. When we do samatha bhavana, what do? We make good effort repeatedly to keep sitha on a kusalan object and finally retain the sitha on that object. That is what we do when we carry out anapanasati bhavana, inhale-exhale act. We have said earlier that breathing is an involuntary act of the body. We are watching this involuntary act of the body. As this discussion is not on a lesson on bhavana, I am not going to go into details. I have mentioned the word bhavana here, as in a future date. In a discussion on bhavana, we will be discussing samatha and vipassana bhavana thoroughly, in extra detail, because we will be discussing more than this. Then, we get rid of nivarena by this bhavana. Freeing of nivarena is development of kusala. To remove pancha nivarena we must practice bhavana. As we keep on practicing bhavana and be able to keep the sitha on one object, what happens? Pancha nivarena is suppressed. Like settling of mud in the bottom of a pond with muddy water, what happens when the mind is retained on one object by bhavana action? The set of nivarena subsides through facing the shining sitha. Have you followed what was said? Bringing about shining sitha itself is development of kusala. According to this phrase of the Gatha, what are the elements there in the shining sitha or kusala sitha? As the pancha nivarena is suppressed, when those 5 are suppressed, in place, 5 other things appear in sitha. They are vithaka, vichara, priti, sukha, and ekaggata. As we continue to retain the mind on the kamatahan, object of bhavana, we suppress pancha nivarena. How does it happen? 5 first round of dhyana elements appear as we keep our mind persistently on the bhavana object. Let us describe those 5 dhyana elements. 1 is vithaka. This is the nature of the sitha sticking onto the bhavana object. Vichara keeps mind on the periphery of the bhavana object, watching it in a circular way. Only a small difference between the 2 of them. They hang around the object as vithaka and vichara. Then we feel a priti in the sitha. As the sitha becomes unified and the nivarena suppressed, we experience an immense happiness. Then the body experiences a sukha. Body experiences sukha as the sitha is unified and the body becomes light. That is what we call sukha. Next is the development of apeksha, akagatha, vacillation of the mind ends. Thereafter, the panchanivarana is suppressed. What rises up as the panchanivarana is suppressed? These 5 elements of dhyana. Now where are these 5 dhyana elements? They are in first dhyana. Is first dhyana a kusala? Is it an akusala? Kusala. Those akusala, panchanivarana are absent in first dhyana. In placed dhyana, elements are present. Then as we enter into second dhyana, vithaka and vichara disappear. Only priti, sukha, and akagatha are present. Second dhyana is a kusala, more powerful than the first dhyana. When the mind enters the third dhyana, priti disappears, leaving only sukha and akagatha, which is much powerful than the second dhyana. Then it drops sukha and enters the fourth dhyana, leaving only pure apeksha. Are you clear about this? What is meant here is kusala. Do you have any problem on kusala and akusala? Do not think you have any problems on pina and papa, right? Do not have problems with kusala and akusala. What is happening now? Akusala disappears with the development of kusala. The citta stays in kusala freely. Why do we keep doing this? This does not end here. We need to go to the remaining idiom of the gatha. Then, look again. We have refrained from papa. Now we have refrained from akusala, have we not? First, we controlled the body and word there, refrained from doing papa. Now we have a dear sitha. We have become a person with pina. Next, we developed kusala, got rid of akusala. Still, had the Buddha asked us to stop here? No. He uttered another phrase. What had he said next? Suchita Pariyodapanan, purify the sitha. Having done all those activities, still the sitha is not pure. Is not that true? Do you see the difference? Refraining from papa, we are developing pina. Abandoning akusala, we are developing kusala. However, the Buddha by the third phrase, saying, Suchita Pariyodapanan, what is left there to do now, advising to purify the sitha. Why is the necessity for purifying sitha? Because it is impure. Having completed all that, still the sitha is not pure. Do you see how profound this Dhamma is? Sitha is still impure. How could the sitha be impure after doing so much? Refrained from papa, got sitha to stay in kusala, akusala disappeared. Yet he is asking by the third phrase, to purify sitha, sitha is impure. How could the sitha be contaminated? This is the most significant position in Buddha Dhisana. Let us look at sitha. If we state now that, we are going to free ourselves from samsara dukkha, as there is dukkha. Dukkha sathiyaya. Trying to free ourselves from dukkha, as there is still dukkha, is the most significant point in the Buddha's Dhamma. Actually, by all these 3 phrases, he had talked about the Noble Eightfold Path. He had disclosed it in a different way. The Buddha had compared samsara with a giant tree. What we need to do is to remove the tree. What do we do for removing a huge tree first? First, we cut down the branches, cut and remove the branches. Does the removal of branches end the life of the tree? Tree is still living. If we wait a few days, we could see new undergrowth appearing. Agreed. What do we do next? We do not stop just by cutting down branches. We cut and remove the trunk next. Twigs will come up as long as the trunk exists. For that reason, we remove the trunk. If we stop here after removal of the trunk, what will happen? Again, twigs will come up. What is the reason? Because roots are still there. Are you clear about this? That is what the Buddha had declared. What happens when we refrained from papa, and having sila? Being in sila is as if cutting down the branches of the tree, having control over body and words means, removed the branches of the tree. If we keep on doing this every day, we will have to think of the sila repeatedly, as the twigs could appear any time. What is the reason? The trunk is still alive and the roots are still alive. Now we have cut and removed the branches and become a person with sila. Then we cut the trunk. Cutting and removal of the trunk is what is meant by developing kusala. We have got rid of akusala and now we possess a kusala sitha. That is why the Buddha had said Sitha is still impure. Sitha is not pure yet. Why? Roots of Akusala are still there. Where are the roots of Akusala? They are below ground in case of the tree. However, what does he say here, where advice is given to purify Sitha? Why did we do Papa, had the Sitha in Akusala, had no control over body and word, and had Pancha Nivarena? Because the roots of Akusala were still intact. What are the roots of Akusala? They are Raga, Dvesha, and Moha. Roots of Akusala are still living. Removal of those 3 roots of Akusala is what the Buddha meant by Sachitta Parayodapannam. The Buddha had advised to purify the Sitha. Refraining from Papa, development of Kusala etc. found in other religions too. Was it not there in Hinduism, even at the time when the Buddha appeared? People gained dhyana, gained abhina, even at that time, there were people with iddhi powers. Parasitha Vijnana, they possessed power to read others' thoughts. They were in possession of things such as Diba Chaku, Diba Sotu at the time the Buddha appeared. Therefore, these two exists outside Buddhism in other religions too. Nevertheless, by third phrase the Buddha had declared what none of them owned. He had advised us to purify the Sitha. For what reason? The roots of Akusala are remaining. The roots of Akusala are still there intact. These roots too needed to be removed and got rid of. Those Pancha Nivarena are suppressed. Dhyana arose because of suppression of the Nivarena. However, just like the mud in the pond, there is mud at the bottom. Had a stone happened to drop, or by dropping a stone, immediately the mud will float to the surface. Similarly, there is not much gain in developing dhyana by suppressing Nivarena. Dhyana will disappear any time there is a little slack, and line the Nivarena resurfaced. Kilesa would reappear. The Nivarena would resurface. Why is that? It is because, just like the mud in that pond, roots of the Akusala are still dormant there. Digging up of the roots of Akusala as well, is what the Buddha meant by Sachitta Parayodapannam. Do you see how it is? The Sitha is impure even in people who possessed dhyana. Have you understood? What is meant here is that the Sitha is still impure, but not about the residual Nivarena. No Nivarena, the Sitha is shining. However, the roots of Akusala still exist. Because of the presence of Akusala roots, his Akusala could resurface any time, whenever there is some slackness. Not only that, but as long as the roots of Akusala are present he is in samsara. He has not yet escaped from bhava, he is pavagami. He is not freed of dukkha. Are you clear about this? Therefore, to be free from dukkha, to cross over from samsara we must uproot and remove the roots of Akusala. What it means is that the roots of Akusala must be destroyed. That is what the Buddha had meant by Sachitta Parayodapannam. Then, how do we do this? How do we purify Sitha? Despite all these efforts, we say the mind is always impure because of the presence of roots of Akusala. Why do roots of Akusala exist? What is it, and how does it happen? Let us look into how it happens. I have discussed this in a different way in a previous discussion. Let us revisit it. Now, how does a Sitha occur? If we take as an example, what happened because of contact of the eye with a color object, Vijnana occurs. Vijnana cannot occur alone at all, it occurs because of the eye and the color. Invariably, when Vijnana occurs 5 Sitha impulses also occur. We call them, Passa, Vedana, Tanha, Cetana, and Manasikara. Then these 5 activities, Passa, Vedana, Tanha, Cetana, and Manasikara cannot ever occur alone. It occurs only if Vijnana occurs. Have you understood what I explained? Therefore, how does the Vijnana occurs? Only if there is a contact of an object with the 6 sensual faculties, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. That means if it is the eye, a color must come in contact, for ear, a sound must come in contact. An aroma to the nose, a flavor to the tongue, a sensation to the body, and a mental object to the mind, must meet the 6 sensual faculties, called ayatana, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. They are also called doors. Vijnana occurs at any time an external object come in contact with these 6 ayatana. Are you clear? Yes, I have said that 5 activities occur invariably when Vijnana occurs, activities called Phassa, Vedana, Sana, Cetana, and Manasikara. If we take as an example, Vijnana occurs because of contact of a color with the eye. As the Vijnana occurs, those 5 activities, Phassa, Vedana, Sana, Cetana, Manasikara invariably take place. What does Phassa mean? Phassa means actually an indication that a contact had occurred. To say it plainly, because of contact of a color and eye a Vijnana appeared. There the Phassa occurs, and it says, saw, if a sound had met here a Vijnana occurs there. Vijnana can occur any time an external object come in contact with a sensual ayatana. However, where does it occur? What has happened is actually indicated by the Chaitasika, Phassa. When ear and sound had a contact there, Vijnana occurs, the Phassa Chaitasika says heard. If a smell and nose had a contact and if Vijnana occurred, the Phassa Chaitasika says, smelled. If a flavor and tongue had a contact and if Vijnana occurred, the Phassa Chaitasika says tasted. If a sensation and body had a contact, and a Vijnana occurred, Phassa Chaitasika says felt, and it is same for the mind and mental objects. If remembered, it says a Sitha appeared. Therefore, the Phassa Chaitasika informs us wherever the Vijnana occurred, and tells us something had contacted. Then, the Vijnana occurs when external objects, rupa, color, smell, flavor, feeling, thought have contacted sense ayatana, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Invariably with Vijnana, as an example, when Vijnana occur at contact of a color with the eye, the Chaitasika called Phassa occurs there. Have you understood? Okay? Therefore, Phassa said, saw, next impulse is Vedana. Vedana informs whether what is seeing is a pleasant one, unpleasant one, or a neutral one, Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, or Dukkhamasukha Vedana. How does it inform us? By the Chaitasika called Vedana. It also occurs simultaneously with Phassa and instantly with Vijnana altogether. Though I say it this way for easy understanding in this discussion, it does not happen one after the other in a certain order, everything happens together instantly. Vijnana is something that happens swiftly and dissolves instantly. This whole process occurs with it and disappears with it. This process takes place very fast. What does Vedana Chaitasika say? It informed us whether it is pleasing, not pleasing, or a neutral one. Next Chaitasika is Sana. What does it do? We know now what we have seen, we know whether it is a pleasant one or not, then the Sana Chaitasika recognizes it whether it is a fruit, a lotus flower, or plumeria obtuse, a ralia, flower etc. I took them as an example, the Sana Chaitasika does identification. What happens next is Chaitana. There is another Chaitasika, it is called Chaitanya. We have seen, we know what we have seen. Whether we like it or not is determined by the Vedana Chaitasika. Then the Sana has identified what the object is. What happens next? Depending on liking and disliking, what does Chaitanya Chaitasika do? It develops a desire if the object is a pleasant one, Raga Sitha. If it is an unpleasant one, Chaitanya Chaitasika develops a Devesha Sitha. If it is a Dukkhamasukha, it creates an Moha Sitha. However, what does it do now? Raga, Devesha, Moha, the three arise here. Have you understood it? I got to this point to explain it. Next is the Manasikara activity, another Chaitasika that encourages the activities. What I want to get across to you is that whenever a Vijnana occurs, with each Sitha, or whenever a Sitha occurs, Raga, Devesha, Moha invariably arise. Have you understood it? With every Vijnana occurrence, the Phassa, Sana Vedana, Chaitanya, Manasikara activities also take place. What is there called Chaitanya and Chaitanya Chaitasika is Kama certainly. Raga, Devesha, Moha, this is what the Buddha had said by Chaitanya and Bhikhokaman Wadami. Thus, this Chaitanya Chaitasika occurs with every Vijnana occurrence, with every Sitha unquestionably. Therefore, if this occurs with every vijnana, if the three, raga, dvesha, moha are present, is everything pure? Is it impure? Now is our citta purified because that we have control over the body, words and had become a person with sila, and have got pancha nivarena suppressed by doing bhavana, if not why? Because every instant of vijnana occurs, so-called, chaitasika activities also occur. There is chaitana in every citta. Therefore, that citta is impure. As long as this raga, dvesha, moha present, the citta is impure. Who does not have raga, dvesha, moha? Now here, raga, dvesha, moha are karma. Sankara means the same here. They are known as kaya sankara, vachi sankara, and mano sankara. What it says is that these karma are vachi karma, kaya karma, and mano karma. I have told earlier that everything is done by thinking with citta. In all these thoughts, chaitanya chaitasika is present. Then who does not have this chaitanya chaitasika, this karma? Arahants. Therefore, in everyone except for the arahants the chaitanya chaitasika occurs simultaneously with vijnana. In other words, these three, raga, dvesha, and moha are present. If so, as long as those three are present, the citta is impure. That is the reason for the Buddha to state the third phrase, Sachitta Parayodhapanam. The Buddha wanted us to purify what? The roots of those explained akusala. Destroy the three, raga, dvesha, moha. The citta is not pure as long as these roots of akusala are present. As we keep purifying them, the ultimate end, the end of the purifying is called the rank of arahant. What should be destroyed? Asrava. What are asrava? They are desire for karma, desire for bhava, desire for avajja, akamatana, bhavatana, and vaibhavatana. All these dana occur, kilesa occur due to chaitanya chaitasika, raga, dvesha, moha. Then in who does, the chaitanya chaitasika does not occur? In arahant. Vijnana occurs to an arahant too. Even to an arahant vijnana occurs at the eye when an rupa or colors meet his eyes. Along with it, passa chaitasika activates. Arahant knows that he has seen. Arahant knows that he has seen. If he has seen, then Vedana informs him about what was seen. Nevertheless, it is different to Pruthaggyana. Still there is a Vedana however. A suggestion is present, as regards, whether he likes it or not even there. Then Sana identifies it. If it is sweet to the tongue, he knows that it is sweet, or if bitter, he knows that it is bitter. That is suggestion. Then it identifies. If it tastes sweet, identifies it as palmyra honey or coconut honey etc. Smelling an odor also is like that. He knows whether it is a desirable smell or an undesirable smell. Then he identifies whether it is a smell of a lotus flower or a rallia flower etc. in Pruthaggyana, in people who are not arahants. However, with these two, the chaitanya chaitasika occurs next. It does not exist in arahants. Why? Because he does not have a citta that will stick with the object, saying this tastes sweet. He does not have a citta that would stick to it saying that it is pretty. He does not have a citta that detests saying it is ugly or bitter. Do you understand? Chaitanya chaitasika does not activate in him. Is it clear then attainment of arahanthood means citta is purified? The statements in all those three phrases will reach completion in all aspects at the attainment of arahanthood only. Until then everyone's citta is impure. Even though the pancha nivarena is suppressed and kusala has been developed, it is not complete. Then, the segment that other religions do not have is this. Possession of any mystical powers, ability to fly in sky etc. has no value. Until the power of their kusala is present, they will enjoy even birth in Brahma sphere, enjoy long life and happiness escaping from dukkha temporarily. At the end of kusala powers they will come back to the world. Why? Because, all of them existing within world. As long as the chaitanya chaitasika is present, they have not escaped from samsara. It is to be free from this that we need to destroy it. Then, they do not exist in arahants. Therefore, to get there what we need to do is to destroy this akusala roots. Doing that is purification of citta. Have you understood it? Are you clear about them? I have explained many terms. I am not sure whether you all understood them. It has some difficulties. Why is that? This is very difficult, though I have made extra effort to explain. This is actually difficult. However much it is explained, understanding it is not easy. This is a place everyone would find difficulty to grasp. Are you clear about what I've been explaining so far? It is difficult to explain colors to a person who is blind from birth. It is difficult for a person to understand who had not experienced them, even if it is explained repeatedly. Using words, we explain. It is like the turtle trying to explain about the dry land to a fish. I have told this before, however much the turtle tried to explain the fish that it needs to walk on dry land, and dry land is not like water, etc., does the fish get it? The fish thinks that there is water even on top of dry land. It is like that when something not known is explained to us. People's ideas, thoughts, and everything come about based on if they are perceptible to the indriya, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. However, cannot explain further than that, if Sita is not developed beyond that. That is why we are asked to develop pranga. Merely having knowledge in a person would not work. Knowledge is not pranga. Pranga is different, vijnana is different. Knowledge is different, understanding is different. Had advised to purify Sita, with what do we see this truth? We need to see what is called panchupadana skana, these activities, pasa, vedana, sana, chaitana, manasikara, which occurs simultaneously with vijnana. We understand the actuality only on the day we see them. Who sees this? An arahant. That seeing is called attaining the abhina, see this reality, and these activities with abhina. That is the instant the arahant pala is attained. To end this, all kilesa needed to be destroyed. All kilesa must be wiped out. Then, that is what is called the purification of Sita. Dhyana arose like the settlement of mud in that pond. I have said, the Sita is like the cleansed water. What do we do next? We need to do a bhavana next to purify the Sita. Just like the mud in the pond, as long as there is mud there is a chance for the water to be impure. If we remove all the mud, what happens? It is like that, no purpose in just suppressing the akusala. Those roots of akusala are there underneath, like the roots of that tree. The Buddha had said that the path to Nibbana is, like in that tree, must uproot the roots, bundle them, cut them into pieces, burn, and throw away even ashes to float away. Then what do we do to purify the Sita? The Buddha had advised us to practice another bhavana. Let us discuss that next. Have you understood things explained up to now? Now, what is the question that you were trying to ask? Is it about Sita? Question: do all those chaitasika occur with every thought? Answer: yes, those 5 activities invariably occur with every vijnana and with every thought. Do you understand it? Arahant does not have the chaitana chaitasika. He does not have only it. Others have them all, until attainment of arahanthood. These days, vedana, sana, sankara, vijnana are considered as 5 skanda, panchaskanda. Many people show this as panchaskanda, and say, there it is 5 skanda pointing to people. However, only these panchaskanda, rupa, vedana, sana, sankara, vijnana are there. There is no animal or individual there. All present here are panchaskanda. Arahant also is in that stack. Then Arahant also is a panchaskanda. A heap of skanda, okay? That is how it had been explained. How had these 5 skanda fabricated? Arahant has these skanda. However, what is absent is upadana. He has no upadana. 5 skanda exist. I do not know from where this was fabricated. This story of 5 skanda is not applicable to an arahant. Though it says arahants have 5 skanda, panchaskanda, rupa, vedana, sana, sankara, vijnana, arahants cannot have 5 skanda. Sankara cannot be there. Sankara means karma. Devoid of karma, arahant is one who had destroyed karma. Thus, how an arahant could be having karma? If no karma, how can there be sankara? Karma and Sankara is both the same thing. There is no Sankara. An arahant is one who has destroyed Sankara. Avajja Pakaya Sankara. Sankara arises because of Avajja. Arahant is one who has destroyed Avajja. Therefore, Sankara cannot arise in him. That is why I said he has no Sankara, no karma. When we talked about Chaitanya Chaitasika, we heard about how they are produced. There I said that the arahant does not have it because of that reason. What is not there? For Chaitanya Chaitasika to arise, by Chaitanya we mean karma, Sankara. This is Sankara mentioned in Patika Samappada. Then, these Sankara keep arising as long as there is Avajja. There will be Sankara as long as there is Avajja. Then, who has Avajja? One who has not attained the arahanthood has it. Who has no Avajja then? It is not present with the arahant. One reached arahanthood. Arahant means Avajja is destroyed. Then if Avajja is destroyed, if Avajja is ended, Sankara is ended. Because of that, there is no karma. Chaitanya Chaitasika cannot arise. Therefore, according to the story told earlier, arahant has a panchaskana but no upadana. Things like these are not applicable. This mistake may have happened when they tried to illustrate people as panchaskana. I have not come across anywhere the Buddha identifying people as panchaskana, had not said anywhere. Not found anywhere mentioned it like that. From somewhere it had come, different people had made it up, and now had become a convention. This is not applicable here. I had to explain this as I was describing Chaitanya. Then, until the attainment of arahanthood, Chaitanya exist. Karma exist. The three, raga, dvesha, moha exist. That is what the Buddha meant by the third phrase, purify them. Suchita Pariyodapanan, purify the sitha. Now we must purify the sitha. How do we purify sitha? Now this sankara exists because of ignorance of the truth. Do not know the supreme truth. We must know it. What do we have to do to realize it? How do we purify the sitha? Do Sattva Satipatthana Bhavana, Vidarshana Bhavana, Vipassana Bhavana, they are all the same. We must develop Vipassana. Kayanapassana, Vedananupasana, Sitanupasana, and Dhammanupassana. Sattva Satipatthana is this. When we develop this Sattva Satipatthana, we will be able to see the natural semblance of the world, A-C-to-Al form of the world. What is the actual semblance of the world? It is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Yes. Appearance, disappearance. There is nothing exists in the world. There is only appearance, disappearance. We must realize appearance, disappearance, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Ignorance of this is avajja. Unawareness about anicca, dukkha, and anatta is avajja. Chaitanya, raga, dvesha, moha pollute the sitha as long as avajja exists. To get rid of them, what we need to do? Avajja must be destroyed. To destroy avajja, what do we need to do? Vijja must be surfaced. To bring out vijja we must see the truth. What is the method of seeing the truth then? The important thing is Sattva Satipatthana. The primary thing in Buddha Dhisana, by a Buddha is Dhisana about Sattva Satipatthana. No other religion has Sattva Satipatthana. None of the other religions has Sattva Satipatthana. The part about how to cleanse the sitha does not exist. Other religions anyway, have development of dhyana. Then, Sattva Satipatthana is the reality of the world. Get to see anicca, dukkha, and anatta, destructing avajja through it, and cross over the dukkha of samsara entering arahant pala. Then, announcement of this is the dhisana of all the Buddhas. What is it? Refrain from all papas, develop kusala, and purify the sitha. This is Buddha Nusasana. Aitanbuddhana sasanan, therefore, it is the anusasana of the Buddhas what sasana is, Buddhana sasanan. Then have you understood what Buddha sasana is? It should be clear to you by now what the Buddha's dhisana is. Refrain from papa, develop kusala, then purify sitha. What is meant by refrain from papa there is sila, having control over body, word. Thereafter, process does not end after having control over body and words. Then, after that, we focus on Sitha. I have said that the body cannot do anything without the help of Sitha except for breathing, and Sitha gets everything done through the body. Sitha cannot do anything without body. Once the body and word are in control, we have cut off 70% of the papa. 7 out of the 10 from the Sitha. Now focus is on Sitha, body and words are in control. We move toward the second phase by a Samatha Bhavana. What are we doing now? Developing Kusala. What is the reason? People's Sitha is in Akusala. That means Pancha Nivarena, Kamakanda, Vyapada, Thinamida, Uddhacca Kukudcha, and Visikiccha. Are you clear? If we take you back to the beginning, I have said that there are 10 Papa Kamas, 3 by the body, 4 by words, and 3 by mind, adding up to 10. What is meant here is abstaining from doing 3 bodily Papa Kamas, and the 4 verbal Papa Kamas out of the 10. Then he becomes a virtuous person. 1. Having Sila. What do we do next? We develop Kusala. For what are we developing Kusala? For destroying Akusala. Then what are Akusala? They are desires to satisfy the ayatanas, eye, ear dash, nose, tongue, body, mind. Kamadkanda is an Akusala. Then Devesha, anger is another Akusala, which is the Nivarena called Vyapada. Next is Thinamida, which is the laziness in body and mind. Then, it is Uddhacca Kukudcha. This is the restlessness feeling in the Sitha and the regret that appears in Sitha for Papa done, and Pina not done. We call it Uddhacca Kukudcha. Next is Visikiccha, the doubt that exists about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Karma etc. People's Sitha stays on these Pancha Nivarena most of the time. Because of that, we practice a Bhavana to free the Sitha from them. What do we do? By Samatha Bhavana, we get rid of them by suppression of those described. Nivarena. That is what we mean as developing Kusala. Then first, Dhyana is a Kusala. When the Pancha Nivarena is suppressed, what comes up is Kusala Sitha. The properties of the first Kusala are presence of Dhyana elements, Vitakka, Vichara, Priti, Sukha, and Ekaggata. At second Dhyana, Vitakka and Vichara are abandoned, leaving Priti, Sukha, and Ekaggata. At third Dhyana, Priti is dropped, leaving Sukha and Ekaggata. At fourth Dhyana, Sukha is dropped, leaving a purified Sitha, pure Upeksha. We call it pure Upeksha because what is there is Papashvara Sitha. That is what the Buddha defined as purified Sitha. We all by nature have a pure Sitha. Now the shining Sitha that appeared by suppressing Kilesa is focused on the deep Dhamma that exists in the world. We can focus it. This Sitha is very strong. We have to bring that Sitha up. The Buddha had talked a lot on this in Sutta. Then, it is this Sitha which we focus to purify the Sitha. The current Sitha is not pure, as Chaitanya Chaitasika still exists. That means the Raga, Devesha, Moha, the roots of Akusala are still present. This Sitha is impure as long as the Akusala roots exist. Therefore, to purify that we must destroy the Akusala roots. Then, what keeps arising in it is Lobha, Devesha, Moha, and they arise because of Avajja. As long as Avajja is present, they do not disappear. Now, we must destroy Avajja, ignorance of Anicca, Dukkha, and Anatta is Avajja. To destroy that, Vidya must arise. Seeing of Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta is Vidya. What do we do to see them? We must develop Sattva Satipatthana. Then development of Sattva Satipatthana is easy for that purified Kusala Sitha. That Sitha cleansed of Pancha Nivarena. The Sitha of fourth dhyana is focused on Sattva Satipatthana. Then we will be capable of seeing the truth as is. To see the true nature of the body. What is the true nature of the Vedana? What is the true nature of the Sitha? After that is Dhammanupassana. We will be able to analyze Sattva Satipatthana by examining what is the true nature of Dhamma etc. by developing Sattva Satipatthana Bhavana. By developing Sattva Satipatthana, we can see Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. We could get the Vidya to arise. A Buddha appears to disclose this process. All the Buddhas that appeared in the past had also declared this same thing. The Buddhas that would appear in the future also will declare this same thing. Therefore, from any Buddha we get to hear this same Dhisana. Therefore, this is what is called Sasana. This is Buddha-nusasana. In view of that, look around and see whether this is what we do today. Please ask any questions if you have. Question. Venerable Sir, today what many people call Buddha-sasana is four kind of people in this society, consisting of Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, and Upasika. Then in accordance with what you explained today, we must see those qualities among them. People with purified Sitha. The way I understand it is, only those who have cleansed the Sitha can only be considered as the Buddha. Sasana. However, we say Bhikkhu Bhikkhuni, Upasaka Upasika make up the Buddha Sasana. If it is so, should not these Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, and Upasika have those purified Chaitasika for the genuine pure Buddha Sasana to continue? Instead, if we are hanging on to external things, what is found there is not the pure Buddha Sasana explained by you. Is not that true? Answer. Explained as Buddha Sasana, what had been said here. It is a certain process of activities, a path of practice, a process to cleanse the Sitha refraining from papa and from doing akusala. And that is Buddha-nusasana. Thus, this is the Anusasana. We have categorized only the people who are following this Anusasana as the four kind of people. Those who develop this are the ones called Buddhists. In short, those who are practicing this path are Buddhists. There are four groups of these Buddhists. Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika. Those either are on the path, or completed the development of the path. Arahant is also in it. Then, we consider only those who are developing these as four kind of people, who belong to this group. Only those who develop these fit into this group, even though, according to the question asked, only the portion called Sangha is considered. Arya. Sangha, the Buddha had implied here as Savaka, those at least have reached minimum Sovan Magga. Until then they have not achieved the Savaka position either. Therefore, those who are below that level are only people making efforts. However, they have not even sensed a certain level. They have not at least attained the Sovan Magga or Pala. Then, are these four kind of people? Is not puzzling what Buddha Sasana is there? Then, the Buddha Sasana is not that group, it is this process of activities. That is then the difference in Sasana. Now in relation to the question asked, there are fabrications as to Bhikkhu Sasana, Bhikkhuni Sasana, and this may have arisen because of words like that. I have no idea how these words were fabricated and how they have come about. Many things have happened in the history. Within the time of 2,550 years, in the Sasana, then people have used different words to identify certain things without appropriate judgment and without proper thoughts. Then, there are no Sasana as Bhikkhu Sasana, Bhikkhuni Sasana, are several heaps of that and this Sasana. There is only one Sasana. Buddha Sasana is the Buddha Sasana. This is called Buddha Sasana. Then, I have explained so far the Buddha Sasana. What do you say? Briefly, who is defined as a Buddhist? One who practices This Buddha's dhyana, one who follows the dhyana of the Buddha is a Buddhist, and is a Bodhisattva. Then what is the Buddha-nusasana? The process that I have been explaining for about an hour. Thus, the one who undertook to practice or who is practicing this process is a Bodhisattva. Thus, no one not committed to practice is an Savaka. Then, any practices outside this process are not a Bodhisasana. Now, the process that I have been explaining for about an hour I explained, refrain from papa, develop kusala, purify the sitha. Any person doing things external to this process is not a Buddhist. It is very simple. They are not a Buddhists. That is it, not a Bodhisattva, not gone for refuge to the Buddha. If gone for refuge to the Buddha, he must be practicing this Dhamma. If gone for refuge in Dhamma, must practice Dhamma. If gone for refuge in Arya Mahasangha, must also practice Dhamma. Here, he must stay within this path. He must stay within the process explained by the three phrases. If practicing anything not within this process, external to the process, they are not Buddhists. Anyone could say, Buddhan Saranan Gacchami, Dhamman Saranan Gacchami, and Sanghan Saranan Gacchami, I go to the Buddha as my refuge. So, go. We are not holding. It does no good if repeated for 10 times, 100 times, even 100,000 times unless gone for refuge, unless essential steps are taken, unless efforts are developed, unless steps are taken to develop required qualities, he would never become an Upasaka. He would not become a Bodhisattva. Then it does not matter whether it is said or not, if the work is done. Even if Buddhan Saranan is not recited, as long as he keeps practicing the process of activities, he will invariably become a Bodhisattva. Then anything done external to this process, now after repeating Buddhan Saranan Gacchami, Dhamman Saranan Gacchami, Sanghan Saranan Gacchami, they do other things. They go after Sai Baba. What they said was that they are going for refuge in the Buddha. However, they go after Sai Baba. Is not that right? They go for refuge in God Munshvaram. Is not that right? Mother Kali, a character from Devils, a female demon, right? Go after her, go for refuge in God Katharagama. Is not that right? What do you say? After saying Buddhan Saranan Gacchami, they go and hang flags in both trees begging, please help my son to get through the scholarship exam. Expecting a sickness of a daughter is healed. All right? Wishing for a promotion in a job, is not that right? Is it not what that they do? If we go near a bo tree, we could see many beautiful funny stories written and hung on them. Is that not right? Then, is this Buddhasasana now? Some believe this as Buddhasasana. Now the sasana is glowing there. There are boards and posters saying, may Buddhasasana shine. Keep on going like this, it will shine. When we look at what they do, we can see whether this is what Buddhasasana is. Am I right? They decorate statues, erect pandals, hang flags on bo trees, surround bo trees with colorful chains of clothing, hang street flags, decorate Chaitya with lights. Is that not what they do? We get to see numerous things such as offering of light puja. Now, will the Buddhasasana shine by these? Then that is one thing. Then, is this the Buddha Sasana I have been describing so far? Think a little about what I am saying. Where are we heading? What is going on here? Then the next thing, another group is putting efforts to improve, develop Buddhasasana. A section of the society is saying, now it had deteriorated. We must improve it. Buddhasasana had deteriorated. There is a truth in it, but why? Talk about Buddhasasana, but do not practice the Buddhanushasana, what we discussed for this long here. Because of that, this country has become swarmed with immoralities. People have become inhuman, have become mechanical equipments, and have become a hard-hearted lot. This country has already become a place occupied by evil people who commit all gruesome papa karma. I do not have to talk about it. Anyone can know about them if he reads morning and evening newspapers, listen to radio, or watch news on television. Then, country has turned into a place full of evil people means, Sasana has deteriorated. That is true. So what do we do for it? What do we do to stop decline first and improve this? Can anyone recover Buddhasasana? Who can do it, can we? Answer from the audience, it is very difficult. We could, but difficult. How do we make it happen? Answer from the audience, need to develop that process. Must develop the process, then how could it be possible, now? Why did everyone say it is difficult then? Okay, some said difficult. Some said do not know, cannot say. Why is it so? This is the reason. Do you know what people say to me once they reach homes after listening to Dhamma from me here? Venerable Sir, all what you said is true, they are correct. Everything is true. Who can do it? Why is this? What are these? What is the reason for saying so? Everyone here is listening to Dhamma now. All will go home after listening to this. For what? Making others to be Buddhists. That is why it is impossible. Is it clear to you? Why did I explain for this long? To establish this Dhamma within you, oneself, that is what the Buddha had said. The Buddha disclosed this Dhamma for us to pay attention, understand it, and then practice it to cross over samsara. Why are we listening now? To tell others about it, to make others righteous. We hear some people advising in Sila all day long, trying to make others virtuous. Get little inside and have a closer look whether they really have any one of them. We get to hear sermons, from dawn to night time. Anytime, when the radio is turned on or the television is turned on, plenty of people to preach. Regardless of abiding by Dhamma, or others accepting to practice, how many of those preachers have those? It puzzles me. What do you say? Without practice, how can we improve this country then? This is the downfall. They are in books, read the books, and preach the people like big pundits. Take in from one hand and give it away from the other hand. There is nothing with them. This is the downfall. In this, we do not have anything to preach others. This is for us to practice. The Buddha had left. After declaring, the Buddhas appear for doing that. There is Dhamma. There is Sasana. It is those exalted ones, the Buddhas. It is, who establish the Sasana. None can destroy it. The Buddha had found the Dhamma. The Buddha had discovered the path. The Buddha had practiced and reached the enlightenment. The Buddha had explained it to the others. The Buddhas had disseminated the Sana of Dhamma. Here I have discovered. You also see it, and had reached Parinibbana at the end of their time. Had set up the Sasana, had established it, and had gone. There is not a single clever person in the world that could add, improve, re-establish, or underpin the Sasana. This will continue as is and will disappear. This had happened to all the previous Buddhas. The same thing would happen to the future Buddhas also. However, we still have this Sasana quite alive. What it means is that the Dhamma is still available for us to listen. Practicing this and going across is what we need to do. We could do it now. Anyone who says that he wants to improve Sasana, there is only one thing he can do, practicing this. By him, we do not have to worry about others. Does others' Sila have any use for us? Does others' Samadhi have any use for us? Do we have any use with others' wisdom? No. Can we establish in us with those of others? No. We cannot establish others in Sila, cannot make others reach Samadhi, cannot create Prajna in others. There is one thing that we can do. We ourselves could become virtuous people. We ourselves could establish Samadhi. We ourselves could develop Prajna. If one of you begins doing this after listening to this Dhamma, it is he really is trying to improve the Sasana. Leave Sasana alone, unnecessary to improve it. You go across. Then, there are no people doing this. What do people do instead? accepting as sasana, and holding on to various things. Today if we ask what Buddhasasana is, what would they say? First, they will get hold of a temple. It has an image. Sometimes it has a chaitya. It has a bo tree. They offer some flowers and lamps to it. Place some kind of puja. Recite some gatha. It means conducting a prayer. Beg for something. Make a wish. Go away with happiness. They live in the same heap of trash that they have been living. The Buddha had advised to refrain from doing papa. None at least had made a determination to refrain from doing papa. None made effort to refrain from doing papa. Spending the whole day on a puja day, or on a set day, spending 1 or 2 hours, or the whole day holding onto a chaitya, a statue, or a bo tree, reciting some prayer, asking for something, wishing for something, go out and live in the same papa karma. Papa they are used to live. Sithu is in the same heap of dirt. It is full of nivarana. This is the primary reason for the downfall. Do not like to see the neighbor doing well. Is not that jealousy? Can they do it with a purified sitha? Not only having dirt in them, they close their eyes and wish, may all living beings be happy, be healthy, be out of danger, etc. Could it happen? Do you see the difference? Many people have taken these things as sasana. These are not Buddhasasana. We must be following this sasana process, which is what we have to do. If someone practices what is in this dhyana, what the Buddha had very clearly explained in 4 phrases, there the sasana is improving. Could everyone do it in this country? It will not happen. A job the Buddha could not do. Exalted one could not do it. How many millions of people may have lived in those 12 states? However, how many experienced the arahanthood? How many attained the anagami? How many had reached sakrodagami? How many did reach sovan? How many people visited the Buddha? How many did listen to a phrase of Dhamma? How many people visited the Buddha? That is the nature of the world. Therefore, who are here listening to Dhamma, please do not try to correct the world, correct the sasana, fix the country, to make this a heavenly place. If you are thinking so, it is a foolish thought. Today everyone scream on, saying, things are not right. Yes, it is not right. Always it had been like that. Do not get troubled over it. On your own, you must go across. Society is moving at low ebb. Why is it that way? Because no one is doing this thing. It is not easy to find a single Buddhist today. What is the reason? There are no practicing people. There are preachers. There are people who preach adding personal views, putting individual ideas, to show others their vast knowledge and abilities to the world. Most of them have nothing with them. There is no difference here as ordained or lay people. They all do this. Today more than the ordained people, lay people are engaged in preaching. They conduct most of the meditation classes and workshops. Do you see so? If you look closely, you will see it, if you look. Therefore, when we look at books and papers today, books and papers on religion, Dhamma and Bhavana are written mostly by lay people. This is the status of affairs today. The sasana will not improve by any of these. Anyway, if anyone is thinking about improving sasana, I am asking him to improve himself. Sasana is within you. Where do we find the process that we discussed? Do you think Papa exists outside? Is it anywhere else? It exists within you. Where does Akusala exist? It exists within you. Who has the impure mind? You. Therefore, where is sasana located? Within you. If someone is saying that he cannot practice this, saying, Venerable Sir, cannot practice the way you say, therefore, we do what we could do. What is meant by doing what is possible of doing? Papa karma. They are able to do activities that derive papa. Keep on doing. Papa karma. They are praying by going after frivolous things, after trees, rocks, and images of gods. Those are the easy things for them. Are you clear about them now? What is sasana? Whoever who wants to improve sasana has to do this. This sasana will deteriorate. It is already deteriorated. It did not happen yesterday, it started deteriorating during the time of the Buddha. What sasana means is this process. I think at the inception it kept improving for about 7 or 8 years. Those who heard Dhamma from the Buddha at the beginning became arahants very quick. It was beautiful. It was full of arahants. There was no problem. After about 7, 8, or 10 years it was very clear. Buddhism was receiving all the respect, gifts, and care. It was great. They decided to get ordained, could live easily they thought. And many ordained expecting gifts, rewards, recognition, and care. Why? Those who were following the Buddha's Dhamma Magga were receiving respect and care of kings and noblemen. It was so easy, shave the hair off, and cover the body with a cloth. Have a bowl hanging like that. Kept going. What happened? After a little while, the number of Arya Sangha was reduced. Only Pruthaggyana were there. That means robe wearers, or else monks who duplicate samana increased. After about 16, 17, or 18 years, there was no way out of it. A calamity, Arya could not survive. Why? It was full of non-Arya ones. It could not be rescued from samana imitators who were after rewards and care. What did the Buddha do after that? He initiated rules. Vinaya. Rules, after 20 years, started enforcement of Vinaya rules. Until then there were no Vinaya rules. What is the reason? There was Vinaya discipline within Dhamma itself. After they deviated from Dhamma, came up with Vinaya rules. Then, enacted rules. One after the other. However, they did not correct themselves. Any time, despite the fact that the rules were enacted, it would not happen either. Nevertheless, he had enacted rules. Why had he enacted the Vinaya rules? It is in one hand to protect the Arya Sangha, on the other hand to insult the non-practicing monks. This is found in books, in sutta. That is the reason for coming up with Vinaya, expose the bad monks to the world. Clearly declared it to show such and such monk is bad. These are outside the sasana. After enacting them, he had stated that these ones here do not belong to the sasana. That is the reason for enacting Vinaya rules. What I have explained so far, the Gatha, Sabapapasa Akaranam, is termed Patimokkha Dhisana. It is the Dhisana of all the Buddhas. First 20 years took care of things under this Dhisana. There were people who observed this, and had initiated rules as some started deserting them. Only after that, a separate one called Patimokkha was put into effect. This is the series of rules what now we call Upasampada Sila or Patimokkha Samvara Sila. It is about 227 rules for bhikkhus and I think about 100 extra for the bhikkhunis. Why had a series of rules? The Patimokkha imposed initially existed only these 3 phrases. Then this deterioration continued and eventually had reached a very depressing state. This is what happened then. One day Arahant Mahakashyapa approached the Buddha and said, Lord, we had only a few rules those days, many Arahants existed. Now a large amount of Vinaya rules, many Rules exist. Number of arahants is very small. What was the reply of the Buddha had given to that? The Buddha had replied, yes Kashyapa, that is the way it is, that is how it is, that is it. Cannot prevent it. That is the state of affairs today. What has happened? The Buddha disclosed the reasons of the root cause. For it, initial stages there were people who observed the Dhamma, had come up with rules, because they were gone. Now, this sasana is deteriorating not because of too many rules, but because of lack of people that is following Dhamma, who exist. Now, duplicates of Dhamma came up. That is what the Buddha had uttered. Dhamma duplicates have arisen. Therefore, what happens when Dhamma duplicates had arisen? Dhamma disappears. When Dhamma disappears, the sasana deteriorates. That is what has happened today. That was what had happened those days. Okay? Today we have powerful Dhamma duplicates. The Buddha had illustrated it by another example. Gold is a valuable metal. Everyone knows about it. What happens if a substitute is introduced in place of gold? What will happen to gold if something else discovered? Gold would lose its position. Gold would vanish. Similarly, the Dhamma had vanished with the appearance of Dhamma duplicates. Then these duplicates did not arise in sasana recently. The Buddha had to talk about them while he was still alive. The Buddha had said clearly that duplicates have risen, and with them, the Dhamma will disappear. He further had said people from outside will not cause the destruction of Dhamma. Within this sasana itself, duplicates will arrive to destroy this. Empty people will arise. The Buddha had uttered this way in the Sutta, Patavi. Dhatu would not destroy this Dhamma. Apo Dhatu would not destroy this sasana. Tejo Dhatu would not destroy this sasana. Vayo Dhatu will not destroy the sasana. However, empty people who will destroy the sasana will arise within this sasana itself. The Buddha proclaimed this at that time. After proclaiming it, the Buddha had explained, why did they arise? Now those said at that time. By that time, the respect toward the Buddha had gone away. The obedience, submission paid to the Buddha had vanished by then. He had talked about 5 reasons for it. Then the respect paid to the Dhamma had disappeared. Obedience, submission paid to the Dhamma had vanished by then. Then the respect paid for Sangha had disappeared. Obedience, submission paid to the Sangha had vanished by then. Then the respect for precepts had disappeared. Obedience, submission paid to the precepts had vanished by then. Not only that, respect paid for Samadhi had disappeared. Obedience, submission paid to the Samadhi had vanished by then. These are the reasons for the deterioration of the sasana, the disappearance of the Dhamma. If you would like read it. This is stated in Samyutta Nikaya, Saddhammapathirapaka Sutta. If you read it, you will see it. The Buddha had proclaimed this dhisana. Thus, this destruction had occurred, even at that time. It had happened this way. That time while the Buddha was still alive, this had happened. It had happened even today. Therefore, some groups who lived within the sasana had brought about this destruction of the sasana because of the arising of empty people, because of the arising of Saddhamma duplicates. The Buddha had seen them at that time itself. Are you clear about what I explained? Then if someone were attempting, however, to get rid of these duplicates, if he could, the Buddha would have done it. He could not do what Arahant Kashyapa had been doing. It does not mean within this that the Dhamma is not there. Dhamma still exists in corners and recesses. It is preserved intact somewhere. What needed is to make effort to restore it individually. By oneself go across the samsara by practicing the procedures. individually. Nothing else is there that we could do. Therefore, one who makes effort to practice this is the one who is trying to improve the sasana. Many people in this country think the country had gone down. The sasana had deteriorated. We want to restore it. This destruction is the root cause of this. It does not serve any purpose. This was inescapable, and it already had happened by today. However, I do not see anyone is on the right path, the necessary path that is essential for recovering this. What is the reason? None is there who knows what sasana is. There is none who really knows what Buddhasasana is. That is why I said that the people are holding on to that chaitya, bow, tree, body wall, moonstone, art of carving, what we had in the past, those archaeological monuments, ruins, and holding on to reservoirs and pagodas and struggling. This is not Buddhasasana. If the sasana disappears, they would also disappear. It had happened at that time too. That is happening even today. Now, if people want to restore them, would like to return to that historical era of magnificent glory, people should refocus on Dhamma. Then the sasana will automatically resurface. The Buddha had discussed about the destruction of the sasana, about destruction of many things. At one instance the Buddha had said, monks, there will be 5 fears in the future, which we do not have today. They are not here yet, but will arise in the future. He had advised the because to take action to wipe out these 5 fears. What are the 5 fears? The Buddha had said, in the futures monks will appear who do not have Kaya Bhavana, Sitha Bhavana, and Pranga Bhavana. What he had meant is that because would arise who do not have Kaya, Sitha, and Pranga Bhavana. He had meant mendicants there. What is Kaya Bhavana, Sitha Bhavana, and Samadhi Bhavana? It is the Noble Eightfold Path. Monks will arise in the future, who do not develop what we have discussed. Sila, Samadhi, Pranga, that was what he had meant. What do they do instead? They ordain others. Then what happens? How can they instill in others something that they themselves do not have? Sila, Samadhi, Pranga. What happens next? Dhamma disappeared, as it was not found within them. Vinaya ended. End of Vinaya, if Sila, Samadhi, Pranga are absent. End of Dhamma. If Vinaya is absent, by destroying Dhamma, Vinaya is destroyed. By destroying Vinaya, Dhamma is destroyed. They do not stop. There they ordain others. Would the ordained ones be able to protect Vinaya Dhamma? Would they be able to gain Sila Samadhi, Pranga? Can they obtain what their own teacher has not given? There. Have you seen? There, it emerged the second fear. Without having them within, they ordain others. Give higher ordination. That is the destruction. Then what do? Next, they do not have Kaya Bhavana, Sitha Bhavana, Pranga Bhavana, yet they try to give advice to others. How can they give something that they themselves do not have? Is it not what is happening today? Fundamentally, see how it had been distorted, how it is continuing today. Advise about Dhamma. Given pretending to be knowledgeable by memorizing few phrases from books. What is happening? The Buddha had explained this. It exists in Sutta. Are you okay? There, they give advices to others. What is happening? End of Dhamma. End of Vinaya. It does not end there. He had talked much more. What is the third fear that he predicted? There will be monks in the future who would not heed to profound Dhamma. Dhisana and deep discussions on Chaturarya Sathya, Patika, Samapada, Noble Eightfold Path, Karma, and Karmapala. They will not make efforts to understand them. They would wild away their time by looking for mistakes in others. What happens? Therefore, own Sila is destroyed. Do not have any Dhamma within him. There is no development. Vinaya also ended. End of. Dhamma 2. That is the third fear. What had the Buddha say about the fourth one? There will be a group arising in the future. Instead of practicing this profound Dhamma, these people who are outside the sasana would advise, preach, recite Dhamma in rhythmic poems, like hymn, debates and contests, compose things, spread literature composed by poets, writers etc., would like to listen to them, or would like to participate in them not in line with the sasana. Do you see them now or not? I have talked about 4 things. Do we not have all 4 today? Look, this fourth one exists well today. What do you get to hear if you go around the country from sunrise to sunset on a Poya day? Poetic sermons, sermons in bardic praises, do you agree? Then, most of the people who are using these means are lay people. We get to hear these at temples and homes. Is that not correct? This has become an enterprise by the music vendors from somewhere, for making money now. The Buddha had predicted this over 2,550 years ago, that there will be things like these composed and compiled rhythmic poems in the sasana. Because of this very thing, Dhamma will be obscured. Vinaya will be covered. This is the fourth fear. What is the fifth one the Buddha had declared? There will arise Isavira because in the future, what will they do? They will dwell mainly for gain. They will utilize Dhamma for gain, to obtain 4 requisites. What is not there today? All these 5 exists today. Some might be hurt when we discuss these. We are discussing this not to hurt anyone. This is sometimes that I myself have seen. It is a shocking misfortune, having to tell you, because also come to meet me, and I discuss these things with them too. They listen to me even with amazement. After that, the venerable ones say that they agree with what I discussed. What did I understand by that? They really were finding difficulty to hear them. However, that is their weakness. Silverfish are getting into books and papers. Book racks are full of them. They do not turn and read them. They just live within the widespread system, having a lay life, doing things appropriate for lay people, things that have made them popular. Do not search. Do not investigate. People in this country do not investigate things. I am talking about both lay people and ordained ones. There is no difference between them. General community is not research-oriented. They are not criticism-oriented. It is not enough just to search books and other media. We must bring them up for debate and discussion. Some people are trembling today when I present them things that I discovered by research for discussion courageously. We do not know how, venerable sir, you say these things bravely. Are these not giving rise to problems really? Then, how can we bring the truth out without researching and discussing? Without research, how can it be? Therefore, we must conduct research. Just stopping there would not do. We must criticize the issues. That also would not do. It does not end after discovery of the truth. Something to be successful, we must become revolutionary next. This does not mean to rebel equipped with arms and ammunition. Nevertheless, we must activate them. These do not exist. They just go to school, learn, hang the certificate around the neck, find a job at some place. What learned from books is somewhere else. Do whatever he likes to do and go home. The country is not progressing at all. Spend the day and collect a payment. What actually performed and what learnt are 2 different things. What is the reason for this? That is what has happened. The same thing has happened to the Dhamma too. Read the book. Do not have the thought of freeing from samsara by absorbing them and put into practice. These are for delivering sermons to increase the number of supporters. Do things similar to that of fourth fear. They do these for 4 requisites, for celebrity, for rewards and care, and for recognition and praise. Then, these matters, these things are in the book. It is still there in Sutta Pitaka. We are able to read. We find them in books. the reason for the decline of Sasana. These 5 matters are present. The Buddha had said they exist and would occur in the future. Take action to prevent these things from happening. I speak about these things fearlessly. Do not feel afraid. Because I practice the word of the Buddha. As advised by the Buddha, do your best to prevent it from happening. If I disclose these, at least some people's eyes would be opened. What do you think? Please reflect upon. This is one reason for the decline of this Sasana. Are you clear about what I explained? Here is another one. Certain Brahmin inquired from the Buddha, approaching him, Lord, if the Sasana lasts longer for some period after the exalted one's passing away, what are the reasons for it to last? What factors influence the reasons for it if it lasts for some period? Then the Brahmin asked again, Lord, if the Sasana annihilates after your passing away, what are the reasons for that happening? The Buddha had delivered an easy response to it. The Buddha disclosed, Brahmin, as long as the bhikkhus in this Sasana develop Sattva Satipatthana, the Sasana would last that long that they are practicing. Whenever the bhikkhus in this Sasana stop developing the Sattva Satipatthana, on that day the Sasana will decline. That was the response. If a person is thinking of improving the Sasana, what is the one and only thing that he has to do? He must develop Sattva Satipatthana. For Sasana to improve, the Buddha had not advised to tell others to develop. If you quit, the Sasana will decline. This is the answer. What is the only one thing he has to do, if someone wants to improve the Sasana? Anagatava, Rukhamulagatava Sunagragatava go to a forest. Go under a tree. Go to an empty place. Keeping the upper body upright, inhale mindfully, exhale mindfully. That is how we begin. In it, there is first Kamatahan of Kayanapassana in Sattva Satipatthana. Here it is to do. The Sasana would improve if we begin to do these. Sasana deteriorate due to absence of this. Here is Sasana. Have you understood it? What then found here now, as the Buddha Sasana? Today, what are we holding on as Sasana? What then are the reasons for deterioration of Sasana now? Things explained here are not mine, the Buddha had expounded all of them. Even today, we could see them the same way. Therefore, if someone wants to improve the Sasana, this is what he must to do. People who hold various high positions, leaders of the country, important people, and the politicians who are running this country, are all saying, want to improve the Sasana. We must make advancements to it. This decline has very badly ruined it. My advice to them is that it is a great idea. It is very good if you think that way. If it is so, take a step forward. Therefore, do not continue to hang on to anti-Sasana things, stating we are developing the Sasana. Kindly direct the people on to the process expounded by the Buddha, preparing the required surrounding for it. As the civic centers built in every village, build something similar, locating a quiet area in every village. Erect some place where a young person could spend 15 to 20 minutes, half an hour, or an hour in meditation. This is the way to improve the Sasana. Provide opportunities like that, as much as possible. People who come to see me, most of them say that they try to practice, but their homes do not provide the required atmosphere. Small houses, very tight rooms, no space for it. When asked them to go to the village temple and try, they say that it is much noisier. They say with confidence that the temples are worst. Cannot do bhavana on a Puja day even. The temple has the biggest deafening environment, they say. They install loudspeakers, and do many things like playing cassettes etc. We cannot do this by beating the drum, and this is the true state of the country today, what we are seeing today. This is what everyone is saying. Therefore, may I request all the authorities, to keep focus especially on the practice. We see an interest among educated ones, youths, and therefore making use of this opportunity try to do something. Build places with the right atmosphere for practicing quiet bhavana from village to village just the way civic centers had been built. You could provide a great service by constructing places that allow people to meditate with quietness. What do you think? If this is done, if it could be done, it will be for the people. There are good openings to do that. Therefore, put all the efforts, to improve the practical side. There is no purpose served by doing various other things. 80-fathom Buddha statues, reclining Buddha statues, huge rock temples, and there is no shortage of images, temples, and chaitya in this country. It is the people who practice this are missing. Temples are on the verge of closing down. The Sasana would not improve by construction of temples, 2-storied Dhamma halls, or 2-storied Sangha dwellings. Primarily, there should be people who practice this. Having any of them would not do any good if practicing people were not there. Emperor Ashoka built 84,000 monasteries and chaitya. Nothing exists today. Even there are no Buddhists in that country. The biggest Buddha statue in the world, Borobudur, is in Indonesia. Not many Buddhists are found there. The situation is like that. Statues in India are disfigured. These are places where Buddhists had lived. These are things built by their own ancestors. We all have seen, about 5 or 6 years ago, is it around year 2000 or 2001? Afghanistan, Kandahar area those days, the big statues that existed, rock statues detonated by the grandchildren of those who built them, cannot spot a single Buddhist there. Nowadays those people do not stop just by discarding the Buddhism and quitting the Dhamma, they harvest hatred even toward the monuments of Dhamma. That is why they are blasting off. Therefore, who could say it would not happen here today? If this trend continues very fast this way, invariably a day will arrive quickly here. Kind of people will be here who blast away statues, chaitya saying, those were built by silly people. It would happen if we deviate from Dhamma. If we practice Dhamma and if the Sasana exists, none will touch them, because they have everything. All these awful things happen, when people departure from Dhamma. Some people are there who talk about culture and civilization. If anyone is keen in protecting them, only thing, the first thing he could do is to try to be an abider of Dhamma himself. First the king, the Buddha had said, first, the king must be virtuous. When the king is virtuous, his ministers will become virtuous. Once the ministers are virtuous, the officers of the kingdom will become virtuous. Then, the king is virtuous, ministers are virtuous, and king's officers are virtuous. Therefore, the whole king's regime is virtuous. Then the citizens will become virtuous automatically. Then, if the king is immoral, ministers will be immoral. Officers will be immoral. Whole regime will be immoral. The citizens would be immoral automatically. The places we need to fix are these. These are places requiring fixing. We must think about these, because the profundity, the essence, and the core substance in Buddha Dhamma are these, but not this worshipping of trees and rocks. There is no place in Buddhism for these offerings and puja. If they were there, it should be present in those 3 phrases. Are there any offerings and puja involved with controlling the body and words from doing papa? Now, need to return to the question asked earlier. There are no offerings and puja. They do not exist. Do we have offerings and puja, where advice to refrain the citta from akusala is? No. Do offerings and puja exist where it advises to purify the citta? No. Thus, no purpose is served by conducting offerings and puja for this. Are you clear about what is being said? Therefore, we need to come to this place. Now what else do we need to think about Sasana? What other questions do we have? You are very clear about Sasana, is that right? What does Sasana mean? The Buddha's Dhisana is Buddha Dhisana, Buddha uses Sana. Then, we have discussed a lot about Buddha Sasana, what Sasana is. We talked about the face of non-Sasana activities too. We discussed how the Sasana would deteriorate by referring to the Buddha's Dhisana itself. Now it may be clear to everyone what Buddha Dhisana, Buddha Nusasana is. Must have understood the difference between the Sasana that we consider today as Sasana, and the actual Sasana the Buddha had proclaimed. Are you clear? Within the time limit, in this short allocated time, I think I made abundant efforts to explain as much as possible. Within the allocated time, it is difficult to explain more than this. We will find opportunities to discuss these continually in the future. If you have any questions or issues within the context of this discussion, ask at this time. Do you have any questions? Question: the development of Vidarshana is exclusive to the Buddha's jhana. Then, is it possible to develop Vidarshana without samatha? Answer: the question here is whether Vidarshana bhavana could be developed without samatha according to the instruction of the Buddha. Then, the answer should come from the Buddha himself, not from me. The Buddha had answered it meticulously. It is found largely within these 3 phrases of Gatha itself. Now, we are advised to develop kusala. In developing kusala, in that statement itself, there is samatha. Panchanivarena. I have talked about earlier of Panchanivarena by means of an example of a tree. This tree is not my example. The Buddha had given this dhyana exactly like that and found in sutta. In that tree, cut away branches, cut away trunk, and then pull out all the roots, cutting the roots, burning them, and throwing away ashes. Their cutting off branches is sila, controlling of body and words. The advice to cut off the trunk is samadhi, nivarena are suppressed there. Thus, can we develop Vidarshana as long as the Panchanivarena exists? Now see, at the beginning, the Buddha had described the methodology to develop Vidarshana. We purify the mind, we experience the Nibbana by way of Vidarshana. The Buddhas appear to disclose this. That is true. However, he had disclosed a specific process that must be followed to get there. How could we see such a profound Dhamma if the Sitha is covered with Panchanivarena? If the power of this Sitha, the shine of the Sitha is destroyed and vanished, how do we see such a profound Dhamma with a weak Sitha? How do we see Anicca, Dukkha Anatta? How do we develop Sathara Satipatthana? Therefore, invariably Panchanivarena needed to be suppressed, the shining Sitha must be surfaced, no 2 words about it, no Vidarshana without samatha. If anyone says, there is development of Vidarshana without samatha, people who do not understand Dhamma, who do not know about bhavana say like that. The difference here is that only a Sitha that is devoid of Panchanivarena could be focused on Satipatthana. This is very clearly stated in Sathara Satipatthana Sutta. Let us take another example. Sathara Satipatthana Sutta has given 20 Kamatahan bhavana methods. Kekayanyupasi viharati atapi sampajano satima vinya loki abhinadamanasan. Then, there are 14 Kayanapasana. Let me discuss only the Kayanapasana. Then, 14 Kamatahan are given in Kayanapasana. Before giving them, the Buddha gave instructions how to develop all 14, one out of the 14, or any one. How do we develop? Kekayanyupasi viharati atapi sampajano satima vinya loki abhinadamanasan he lives observing the Kayas and Kayaskaya. Kekayanyupasi viharati he reside, observing the Kayaskaya. How do we do that? Atapi sampajano satima, we cannot look at the Kaya any way that we would like to observe. How do we observe it then? There are 3 words in atapi. Sampajano satima, atapi, sampajano, satima. What is meant by satima atapi is powerful virya. Virya is necessary for knowing the real nature of the body, not only for Kaya, needed it, for all 4 Satipatthana. We have here taken Kaya as an example. I am talking about it. To see the truth as truth in this we need a powerful virya then. Then, sampajano, it is wisdom. A powerful wisdom needed to see the truth as truth. Then it is satima, mindfulness, a strong mindfulness. Thus, we need all 3 components, virya, wisdom, mindfulness. We must have all these 3 primary components, atapi sampajano satima. He had not stopped there. Then he had said, Vinyaloki abhinadamanasan, here Vinyaloki means Kayanapasana. This is because we are talking about Kaya here. Abhinadamanasan, must watch Kaya without strong attachment or friction. How do we develop Kayanapasana? It is by looking at Kaya as Kaya. How do we do that? With virya-wisdom, mindfulness. We have 3 components there. Additionally, it states, without any attachment or friction with the Kaya. What is there, if there is no attachment and friction? Impartiality. What it means is upeksha. Thus, we must possess virya, wisdom, mindfulness, and upeksha. Then where is upeksha found, where are those 4 found? It is in Catatha Dhyana. Now look at the first dhyana. Where is Sitha in first dhyana? It possesses all 5 qualities, Vithaka, Vichara, Priti, Sukha Ekagatha. In second dhyana, Vithaka, Vichara is absent, Priti, Sukha, Ekagatha are present. Then, third dhyana, Sukha and Ekagatha present, Priti absent. At fourth dhyana, only Ekagatha present, Sukha absent. Only Upeksha is present at the fourth dhyana. What is essential for the fourth dhyana is Upeksha, and this Upeksha is aimed at Kayananupassana with Virya, intelligence, and mindfulness, or at Cittanupassana, at Vedananupassana, or at Dhammanupassana. Thus, this is the Buddha's recommendation, the principal prescription. Then how could we say from a distance that it could be done without this? I explained Sadhu at last discussion with the help of Upanisa Sutta. What happens because of Sadhu? I have said that it is something that develops. Sadhu is actually Noble Eightfold Path here. Again, it is this bhavana. Right, Noble Eightfold Path, what develops because of Sadhu? It develops great joy, bliss, blissfulness in the Sitha. Blissfulness occurs in the Sitha. Blissfulness causes in where? To what? Priti in Sitha. Priti causes lightness, passaddhi. Passaddhi then causes sukha. Sukha means bodily joyfulness. Sukha causes samadhi. What does samadhi cause? Yathabhuta Ganana. What does Yathabhuta Ganana mean? It is vipassana, if taken in that order. Are you clear about this, how this Sitha is progressed? Therefore, there cannot be any vidarshana without samatha. These components must arise inevitably. However, we could keep on developing vidarshana samadhi only in a different approach. We could keep trying hard with constant efforts. However, what develops first is samatha. Whichever way, by any difficult way, first, the Sitha must somehow exceed, and Nivarena suppressed, appearance-disappearance begins to show up only after that. Therefore, the Vidarshana Kamatahan initially works as samatha. As it being developed with someone's advice, with much virya, it first develops samatha through it. Thereafter, appearance. Disappearance could be seen through Vidarshana, only after suppression of the Nivarena. Have you understood this? Therefore, we find it difficult to accept that there can be Vidarshana outside samatha. We have not seen any records testifying that the Buddha had said it like that. There are many suttas, they are very clearly explained in those suttas. We will discuss how to conduct samatha bhavana at a separate discussion in the future. We'll explain how samatha occurs. I will be able to explain at that time how Pancha Nivarena is suppressed as samatha is being developed. How will we feel when Pancha Nivarenas are suppressed? The Buddha by way of 5 examples had explained how we feel when the Sitha is freeing of Nivarena. The Buddha had explained how it is felt. Sitha feels happiness and lightness, like how someone will feel when he is freed from being locked up in a jail. Then, like how debtor feels when all debts are paid off. Then, like how a slave feels when he is liberated from slavery. Then, like how an ailing person feels when he is cured from an illness. Sitha feels happiness and lightness, like how a person feels after crossing over a treacherous road to safety. Look, 5 reasons. He had given 5 examples for these 5 Nivarena. Just think how someone feels when freed from these. When an ailing person is cured of his sickness, when a debtor pays off his debts, then when a slave is freed from slavery. The Buddha gave 5 examples like this for the 5 Nivarena. 1. Begins to feel this way. That is how it goes. Thereafter, the Buddha had continued to explain how we feel when dhyana characteristics occur after suppression of Nivarena. Like a pond full of water, whole pond full of water. Then, like all areas of a pond is wetted by the water. Like that, the whole body feels these dhyana elements, this joy, this sukha. Then the feelings at the occurrence of Akagatha explained as the whole body covered from head to the 2 feet fully with a white cloth. This is how freedom from Nivarana gained. After that, the Buddha explained how to focus citta to gain knowledge about previous deaths and births. He had asked the citta, which is in Katitha Dhyana, to focus to look at the series of births in the past, that is Pubnivasanu Satiganana, had asked to focus on the previous births. Next is Hutyupapataganana, seeing of beings chemically having births, death. Then he had advised to direct the citta to Asavakaganana. Asavaka means directly to Vidarshana. I think that I explained this at last week discussions as 15 Karana and Ashtavidya. First dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, and fourth dhyana are explained clearly in Sekha Sutta, as Karana Dhamma. Therefore, when the Buddha himself had repeatedly explained this, how we could say that there can be Vidarshana without Samatha. People made this up through fear. They are afraid to develop Samatha. They think that they are unable to develop Samatha. They think that dhyana belongs to a different world. We can develop dhyana. We could develop up to Ashta Samapatti, even today. These are not sheer imaginations or confined to dreams. These things can be practiced and gain results. The Buddha had never asked us to do anything that is not doable. If impossible, the Buddha would state so. Therefore, if someone is saying that there is Vidarshana without Samatha, it is not the Buddha's Dhisana, it is the ignorance of that person. Thus, we need Samatha Bhavana. It is found even in this Gatha. Refrain from Papa. That means Sila. Developing Kusala means freeing of Citta from Akusala, and now freeing Citta from Akusala is clearly freeing of Citta from Pancha Nivarana. That is the second phrase. Third phrase is purifying Citta. That is solely Vipassana. It is with that we get to see the truth, arising of Asavakaganana, arising of Vidya. Have you understood what I have explained? Any more questions on that? Have you understood the question that we discussed? About the fact that there is no Vidarshana without Samatha. What other question do you have? Question, Venerable Sir, at Kamsumikakara where bodily akusala are described, are we talking mostly about satisfying only the body? Does it talk about the other things, Pancha Indriya also? Answer, yes. The question is whether all Pancha Indriya are gratified. Now, this is where we refrain from karma. Where refraining from those papas is, where the advice is to have control over the body, there, having control over kaya, at that place the Buddha very clearly had explained karma mikakara as having illicit sex. A man having sexual union with a woman who is not his wife, or a woman engage in sex with a man who is not her husband, had explained this union as wrong, clearly. Having sexual relationship with anyone not married or not be in possession of is wrong, that is the clear meaning here. Here he had not said that it is a papa to satisfy those indriya. Had the Buddha stated anywhere that a person is bound to hell if he satisfies his eye by looking at objects? Had he stated that way? There is no reason for confusion. Have you heard it anywhere? No. I have also heard people saying, Kamsumikakara means refraining from satisfying eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. No. It happens as we progress on this path. First, being in Sila, by having control over body words, then, when we are developing Kusala by refraining from Akusala, we reach that point gradually and systematically like the ocean. The Buddha had compared this Dhamma to the ocean. We are still on the coast. This control of body words is like staying on the shore. After that, we move into meditation, then to develop Kusala. What happens then? Little by little, we enter the ocean. Gradually it deepens. We move into other Dhamma as it deepens. That means Sila of Arahant, we call it Chattaparishada Sila. There are 4 Sila there. What are they? They are Patimokkha Sanvara Sila, Indriya Sanvara Sila, then, Patiya Sannivsita Sila, and Ajiva Parishada Sila. Not all these can be started together. One who first starts, he is on the shore, and cannot do them all from there. First, begin by doing away with those things. They are the Papa Karma. Sitha goes after them. Men are very eager to go after others' wives and others' women. I have explained this already. There is some enjoyment there. Because of that, they are engaged in them. First, we need to refrain from doing that. As we move forward abstaining from that, systematically, inclination to satisfy all other indriya averted, as he reaches the arahanthood with Adi Sila Adi Sitha, Adi Pranga. These things are found at where the Magga begins. Therefore, it is clearly explained here it as illicit sex, but not pleasing the eye, ear, nose etc. The Buddha had not said that it is a papa to get pleasure from objects having contacted the eye. This does not amount to a papa that causes someone to be born in Naya, not bound to a paya. I have talked earlier very clearly. I discussed about 10 papa karma. Likewise, like those 10, I have explained repeatedly that by taking intoxicant, one does not go to Naya. If a person who takes intoxicants goes to hell, then one who does not take toxicants should go to heaven. Most of the people here drink arak. Are they all bound to hell? That is it. The problem here is not the booze. When these 10 papas are committed, while sober or drunk, they are hell-bound. If a person drinks a lot and gets drunk and falls asleep, had he committed any kind of a papa? Therefore, he does not go to Naya. Once the drunkenness gone away he would get up like waking up after being asleep. That is why I said, though killing is a papa, consumption of flesh is not a papa. Now these topics are swinging ones. However, we cannot disregard them either. We consume flesh because of the desire to please the tongue. Pleasing the tongue by eating meat is similar to pleasing the eye by contacting eye objects. However, killing and eating are two different things. Pleasing the eye and kamsumikakara are two different things. Do not get confused. That is why I said at the beginning that the Buddha had said only this much, do not go to add anything to them. Do not go to change them either. Now, the question you asked is reasonable. When we say kamsumikachara in Pali, the direct translation is abstain from karma. What is the actual meaning of it? It is having sexual intercourse with others' spouses, having a bodily union with a woman or man who is not married to him or her, illicit sex. However, if a man sees a pretty woman and describes that she is pretty does not amount to kamsumikachara. None will go to hell for having seen a beautiful object and then having asvada of it. Are you clear about what has been said? Do you have any more problems? Like that, many talk about what sasana is, and about deteriorasana sasana, and the way to improve it. We have also paid much attention to the matter. I hope everyone understood what the Buddha Nusasana is, what the Buddha Dhisana is, or what Buddha Sasana is. If there is someone who wants to improve the sasana, or concerned about the sasana, however there is one thing, do not think that far. Do not go to improve the sasana. Make improvements to yourself. The sasana is located within you. The 3 phrases of the Gatha that we described are located within self, not outside, not exterior to oneself, it is in you. Practice the process of activities yourself. This is a practical Dhamma. This Dhamma is not for recital. This Dhamma is not for prayer. This Dhamma is not for pleading. In this, there is no one who could give things to us. This is for practicing, must put into action. We have to purify us by ourselves. Let us determine to do them. Take the first step forward to do them. Keep on doing. That is the improvement of the sasana, and the only way to improve it, only way is to make improvements to oneself. Those who practice this become the Buddhists. Doing this would become the basis for bringing goodness to everyone.